Hello, sir.
Hi.
How are you?
Or, just walking it off.
Big day for Lando.
Big day for Lando. Shout out to the McLaren team.
I cried. And
You cried for Lando?
I did.
I said, man, it just falls firmly into the ABM category for me. Anybody but Max.
Yeah. And he cried. I'm like, I bet he's crying.
100% he's crying.
And then he took off and he was crying. I'm like, oh, he's so sweet.
Yeah. No, he's not my favorite driver, but I like McLaren a lot.
Who's your favorite driver?
Lewis.
Lewis, yeah. Like, as soon as I said it, I knew. And then who?
Charles.
Yeah. Maya loves Charles.
Yeah, Leclerc's very good. He just needs to get out of his own way to be a really good driver.
I think you like him for two different reasons, though.
Oh, I think he's a dreamboat.
Oh, do you?
No, that's why Maya likes him.
I know that's why Maya likes him. She also loves Oscar.
Probably for the same reasons.
He's not cute. He's cute, like baby boy and good personality cute.
All right, then.
But not the same as Charles. And his dimples. Oh,
Charles's?
yes.
Oh, yeah. Cute little boy from Monaco.
Yeah. Well, he's from
Monaco.
Oh, is he from Monaco?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I know he's living there, but
most drivers move there. Like Max lives there. Lando, I think, lives there, but they moved there for the tax breaks. He was actually born there. That's where he's from.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
How tall do you think Ricardo is?
I think he's 6 feet, 6'1".
That's what I thought. But he went and hugged Lando today and he wasn't much taller. And Lando's 5'6". So that means Ricardo's like, I thought he was, 6.
Ricardo's one of the most overhyped drivers in the paddock.
I know. I don't love him. But I like him better than the Canadian boy.
That's Stroll.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of him either. I like what his dad's done with Aston Martin, but apparently Lawrence is an absolute bell end. He's a jerk. And Lance is just a kid with a ton of money, and his dad paid billions to give him a race car.
Whiny. Just his voice is whiny. His face is whiny. I should just stop. But for anyone who's not listening, or not listening, are listening, but don't know what we're talking about, it's F1. Did we say that?
I think we did.
We're talking about F1.
Yeah.
But anyways, I will move on.
Cool beans.
It was just a big day for Lando.
It was a big day for Lando.
Well, could have been a big day for Oscar. Poor guy. Anyway.
Will come.
All good. So what are we going to talk about today, sir?
It's a great question.
What? I thought you were coming with a topic at hand.
No, I didn't have it figured out yet.
Oh.
I seriously don't. Well, in the 5 minutes between when you said, do you have a topic, to when we're now here recording? No, I didn't have a topic figured out. We can talk about the one I suggested.
Okay.
Bad kids. Is it the parents' fault or are they just bad humans? And I brought examples.
What examples do you have?
One lives down the hall and the other's in the basement. I'm kidding.
Well, we could talk about that. I mean, have we talked about that before?
Bad kids?
Yeah.
I think in passing, I don't think we've actually talked about.
Okay, what's your definition of bad kid?
I think a bad kid is just a kid that knowingly acts poorly towards others and is selfish. But then it comes back, it's the parent anyways.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I'm writing a book and it's Our Kids Are Effed. And it's all our fault.
Yeah.
Or it's all your fault. I don't know, something like that. But then I'll also have another subheading, but there's still something we can, something we can do about it. You know, it's tough though. It's easy to point fingers, but it's society, right? Like it's a society that we built.
Mm-hmm.
And I do look at the differences in some cultures where they do see children as autonomous, independent little beings. And they do have a lot of yeah, autonomy and freedom. And like, I think a lot of it has to do with that. I think a lot of the problems we see has to do with screens. I'm really at the crux of all problems that I see with families. It comes back to screens somehow.
Well, and it's a kid's interaction with the world is no longer pure.
Yeah.
Right? Like you send a kid out into the world and who knows how many manufactured moments are presented to them before they even make it to school between marketing and other cell phones or kids or whatever. Like like everything is manufactured to a result, right? And our kids are growing up in a world where very few of them get to experience the world in a very unobstructed way, right? And so you add to that parents who are just as much involved and sucked into this manufactured narrative, and everybody, like, part of the main issue as well is there's not a lot of people that are taught to mind their business, right? And as parents, too many of them have opinions that they rationalize to themselves, and you know, they over advocate in the wrong instances. They don't teach kids humility, right? And it just and then the kids are presented repeatedly with these awful, awful examples of human beings that they emulate.
Mm.
And it's just a recipe for disaster,
Yeah.
right? It's almost like selfishness is celebrated and encouraged. And well, it's like I said when we were talking about something similar before, that for people to be in the public eye and to be celebrities in the past, they had to, most of them had to work, right?
Mm.
And it's a cliche. I don't really buy into it, but it's the paying your dues piece, right? You had to go through certain steps to prove yourself before you were bankable as a commodity. And that's removed, right? Now a steady internet connection and an opinion is enough to make someone famous. And these are not people that should be at the forefront of the public eye, right? These are the people that if you saw them at 12 o'clock at night outside of a Circle K, you'd avoid them because you're like, that guy's an idiot. Like, he must be hammered or something. Well, they have tens of thousands of followers and are getting paid to say the most outlandish stuff they can to try and rise above the noise of everything else. And these kids are repeatedly pushed into that. And then when they are presented with any sort of obstacle, a large majority of parents step in and over support their kid as opposed to looking at it from a pragmatic perspective and say, okay, what is the actual situation, right? And it just creates this cycle of arrogance and self-centeredness and superficiality, I
Yeah.
think, is the problem.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know what else. I mean, see, I was thinking more like sociopath, psychopath.
Like
Because I
kids.
mean, we could go into so many things. Well, they grow up to be
Oh, I got you. I got you.
like the Unabomber, and
Oh, is this the thing you were telling me about the other day?
yeah, that's kind of the direction I was going to
Yeah.
go
Okay.
in.
Let's.
And who's the guy who was it Dahmer
Yeah.
who ate
Sure did.
victims?
Yeah.
So there's a book. I haven't read it. I got to read it. It sounds fascinating, but I know I'm going to be so disturbed. I get so traumatized. I was reading The Body Keeps Score, and there's stories, and it's, a psychotherapist who wrote it, and it's all about trauma in the body, but sharing trauma stories, like it's funny because when I'm working with clients and hear trauma, I'm in it, I'm empathetic, I'm not affected by it. But in my own mind wandering time, like I'm just so affected by everything. So I don't know how well I'll be able to read this, but I think it's called something like Violence from the Nursery. And so it was tracking, yeah. So it was tracking all like the early experiences.
Mhm.
And developmental trauma is the worst kind, really. Like in those early years,
Yeah.
0 to 3, 0 to 5, um, that we don't even think. And there was a time, like it's just, it's just so hard to think about. But there was a time they believed babies couldn't feel pain. Yeah. And so would do surgeries with them conscious without any painkiller at all. Yeah, it's
When was
unbelievable.
this?
Like even up to the 80s.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Yeah. And so it's just like, oh my gosh. And so, like the amount of, and they don't have the capacity to know what's going on. And if there's a family member there who's not protecting them, like all sorts of trauma and attachment and, like all sorts of things
Mhm.
can happen. But in the one book that I was listening to, that's where I learned about this violence from the nursery. They were talking about this little guy. And so I think there was a traumatic delivery. And then he had health problems. So he had to immediately go into surgery and was separated from his family for a week. No contact was allowed. He was completely secluded. And so he was never able to form an attached bond. And they had tried to do so much, but all this trauma was in the body. I mean, it's a
Yeah.
baby, right? He doesn't have conscious memories. And I think that was part of it, right? They're like, oh, well, they're not going to remember it and they can't feel it. But it stays in the body. But anyways, as they went on, they said his name was it Theodore or Ted or whatever? But it was
Kaczynski, yeah.
yeah, so it was the Unabomber.
Yes.
And so they started tracing others. Dahmer as well had early medical problems, was in the hospital as a baby, a young child, and
wow.
like under surgery. And so it's tracking all of these babies who grew up to be serial killers or, just psychopaths, sociopaths. So I think there's a lot of things. And so, I mean, then it goes to, and I've been shifting a lot of my work towards just parent reactions, right? And so I know we're talking about bad kids, but for me, I don't think there's anything such thing as bad kids. I think there's anxious kids. I think there's traumatized kids. And for some, it comes out behaviorally. What you're talking about, though, I do think like there's a society. And there was another great book that I read where it was a millennial who wrote it and was like, you Gen Xers, it's your fault because you were the ones who said, just dream it and it will be yours.
Mm-hmm.
You can have anything that you want, right? And everybody gets a participation badge. Like it's just, you created this entitled generation just because through all of those things, right? But anyways, I'm kind of going off. So I do think that there's a lot of that, but like let's say you have an 18-month-old, just going to parent reactions,
yeah.
right? And how kids stay traumatized. So if you had an 18-month-old in a high chair, let's say, and they're happy, whatever happens, whether they rock or dog runs into them, their high chair falls over.
Right.
They smash their head on the wood floor.
Yeah.
Let's say even there's blood. What do you do? What's your reaction? And this is for listeners as well. Like, what would your immediate reaction be?
Did I cause it? Like, did I bump the kid and they fell?
No, we'll just say you're across the kitchen making dinner or whatever, and they fell over.
My initial reaction is not a good one. It's like, just find a towel and lay it over them and run and wait for another adult to come find them and be like, oh my God, what happened? That'd be my first thought. Oh, he fell. That's why I'm not allowed around the babies. I would likely try and go console them. Like I would rush to see if they're okay and then try and console them in some way, right? Would probably be the initial reaction.
And what would you say? Like, pretend I'm the baby. What would you say?
What did you do? And then I'd stare at them. Well, we've had our kids fall down. You're making me go back in time here.
You're probably gonna get it wrong, so it's okay. Just say what you think you're gonna say.
I put a towel over and walk away. Like, that's my answer. Like if I don't have to get it right, then why would I put effort into this? Like honestly, I'd put like water around the high chair so it looks like it slid and that's how it fell, and I'd leave. No, if so, use an example where a kid's in a high chair and the kid falls, it would be probably rush over to them, see if they're hurt, and then try and console them. Would be
but what specifically would you say?
It's okay. Where does it hurt? Like it would probably, so based on my own experience, it would be trying to determine what hurts. So I'd be talking to them about where does it hurt, right? Initially, they probably wouldn't be saying much. They'd be wailing, right? So to be try and calm them down, um, try and reassure them, right? So let's say a lot of shushing and it's okay and get them to calm down a little bit, and then just ask them what happened, right? Would probably be.
Would you pick them up?
Well, yeah, probably. Yeah, I would assume so. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I can't see myself looking at them strapped in the high chair and go, this is on you, bub. Right? Like kids face first in the tile, pinned under the high chair.
Oh, I was thinking back, like their back laying back.
Yeah, no, I would get them out of the high chair. That'd be one of the first things I'd do, and then try and console them.
So, and you know what? To be fair, in like when our kids were that, I'd be like, oh my gosh. And would do the same thing, rush over, pick them up immediately, rock them, bounce them, shush, like, shh, it's okay, mommy's got you. And I bet most parents would do that, right? Mm-hmm. That's our intuition to go and do that, but it's the very wrong thing. And this is the problem, right? It's what we think intuitively, and we've talked lots about how we think what we should do is probably the wrong thing. So in a moment like that, and we're seeing so much more trauma because, well, parents are around them all the time. We were talking about this the other day, like what stuff did you get into as a kid that there's no way kids could get into now? Yeah. Do you want to share that story?
The jumping off the roof one?
Oh, that's a great one. That's not the one I was thinking of.
Well, what was the other one I told you? Because I told you. Oh, yeah, the quicksand. So back in the day, which was a Wednesday. That's a Dane Cook joke for anybody that remembers him. My grandfather's farm out in the back fields, me and the cousins, when we were home, and my brother would rush around. And so everybody would get together and it would be a big family to do. And the kids would just wander, right? As kids were allowed to do back then. Well, we ended up in what I was told and believed at the time to be quicksand. But in retrospect, it was more likely just a big mud puddle. But I ended up in it, and
like up to your chest.
Yeah, terrified. Like all the cartoons had predicted this, right? I was in up to my chest, and everybody was standing on the edge, not knowing what to do, and I was going to die because the quicksand was going to pull me down, right? And then, eventually I got pulled out, and we trudged back up
by the kids, like other kids.
Yeah, other kids got me out, and then we went up to the farmhouse, and I don't think I had shoes anymore. I'm pretty sure I was shoeless and covered in mud. And I was just in the moment. I don't think anybody really freaked out. Like the parents, I don't think freaked out. I think they all looked at it like all three of you or four of you are idiots. We've told you not to do that. But I thought I was dying. I thought I was going to die, right? I was convinced that I was going to die. And to this day, it's one of the only memories I have.
But you were the hero of your own story, right? So there was no trauma.
No, I don't carry any trauma, I don't think. But I wonder though if part of it, yes, I'm the hero of my own story, but I'm also the cause of my own incidents. Like guaranteed that I didn't have to be in the back. But you
got yourself out of it. And that's the thing, that kids don't have the chance to get themselves out of it. Yeah. And so animals don't have trauma because they're able to run away. Like a zebra could just be attacked by a lion. We would be shook up forever. Like we would be just beside ourselves and thinking about it, probably develop anxiety. Zebras are literally done. As soon as the lion is out of their sight, they're right back to normal, back to the watering hole, playing around, right? Like because they ran it out. They were able to run away. And so kids don't have that opportunity. What's the jumping off the roof one, though?
Oh, that was just me and my buddies being idiots. So we, back in junior high school, we had a trampoline. And
with no nets around it.
Yeah, this is old school, rusted springs. Yeah. If you missed, you died, right? Like, I'm surprised there's not more guys walking around without testicles.
So many of my friends crazy. Broken arms, broken legs. Like
my back and knees are screwed, and it's in large part because of this. But so we were on a corner lot, and the fence was beside the park, literally the playground. There was a big park beside our house, and it was the fence, the trampoline, and the house, and they were nestled together. Like the trampoline barely fit. And this trampoline, just to add to the story, this wasn't a flat piece of ground. This was literally a slope into the backyard. So the trampoline was already kind of askew, and we didn't level it. We died like men on that trampoline. But we decided that it wasn't enough like we would do all the normal things, jump, you double jump, but we would drop kick each other in the air, right? And like hard. And it was hilarious if you could time it that they went skidding down the hill into the back patio. But then we upped it and started taking the screen out of the master bedroom upstairs. And this is an old 80s style house with that big shingle sloped roof off the front living room. And we would run up, we would go into my parents' room, we would take the screen out, and we would jump out, and we would jump whatever it is, 20 feet, 15 feet onto the trampoline to see how far we could make it into the playground. Like, I think of it now, and we might as well have just taken 2x4s and smashed each other in the face. Like, it was the dumbest thing but we did. That was a pastime, right? Like, it's so dumb.
It was dumb, but not like you learned to, yeah. Anyway.
No, I agree with you. Like, it was that unfettered outdoors kind of do your own thing and figure it all out sort of stuff. But now in the mornings when I wake up and my knees and back are screaming, it's kind of like, well, maybe I should tone it down a bit. But that's the joy of youth, right? That's whatever.
Well, and we had that opportunity. So going back to the 18-month-old, do you want to know what you're supposed to do?
Sure. Is it a tell? No.
You know what? That is the better response out of the two responses.
See, go with my gut. I came at it from a perspective of I didn't want to get in trouble, though.
I know. Okay. That's exactly what you want. Yeah. We're doing. You don't rush over there. You drop into your own body first. Am I calm enough to go over to help that child? Or am I going to freak out, right?
I'll just walk over and go, hey, bud, like, what's happening?
Check with your own nervous system. And if you can't, like, it's better just to not go over to that child, to be quite honest. And he's or she, they are still processing it. Mm-hmm. They have a lot of time. They need a lot of time to process it. And so even if we waited, 5 minutes, I know that we wouldn't wait 5 minutes, but even if we waited, they need that time to kind of process and tremble it out, just like the zebras tremble it out. Or if you've ever had a close call, in a car accident, if you sit there and let yourself tremble it out, that's kind of letting that energy, that potential traumatic energy kind of leave your system. Well,
I think people refer to it as the adrenaline, right? Like that's what people would assume it is, not trembling it out.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's dropping. Can I go over there calmly, like Spock, right? To be able to attend to this child and not freak them out more.
Yeah.
Then it's sitting down next to them and just saying, wow, you had a fall. So explaining, you had a fall. I'm right here.
Yeah.
And if they're crying or shaking or whatever, you just cry it out. Or you just tremble it out. You shake it out. I'm going to be right here, right?
Yeah.
The minute we pick them up and start, like if they're a little baby and they can't move themselves, then yes, we are going to pick them up. But when they have the capacity to move themselves, well, and if there's a head injury, neck injury, you don't want to move them anyway.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, like they have an internal healing system that we don't give them the opportunity because we grab them and we start moving them, but they need to have that internal sort of shake it out, cry it out. You're still there. I'm still here for you. Yeah. Like that and a warm, gentle hand on them, like just I'm putting my hand on you probably have an owie or like whatever it is.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
so it's
totally.
kind of that, but we don't respond in helpful ways. And we don't let them, we've talked a lot about the autonomy piece, but even stuff like that, they do have an innate inner sort of wisdom, so to speak, that we just think that
they don't have.
They need us to fix everything and to, but they do have the capacity. We're still there and we're still loving them and we're still giving them that support. But I think that's part of the problem is kids just don't ever have those opportunities. And not even in an incident like that. We're always telling them, eat your broccoli, put on your coat, it's cold out. We're not getting them to listen to their own bodies and to follow what they think is best for them. And so they start feeling like, completely incompetent. And so then we see behaviors. And a lot of the kids, Every kid that I've ever worked with an ODD label, and I've talked about this before, like oppositional defiant disorder, they've had some significant trauma. I remember one kid who punched me in the face and nearly broke my glasses. Security came immediately. I just hate, it was at the hospital, and you have to be in like a big fishbowl with these kids. And I hate it because the minute something like that happens, people freak out and call security. And I know he wasn't being malicious. He was just as shocked as I was,
Yeah.
right? I just came into his personal bubble just a smidge too close. I was just looking over the table to see his writing, but he just saw out of the corner, like it's on me. It was my fault. And he punched me, and it was a protective measure. And then now security's coming and grabbing him and taking him away. And I'm like, no, please. But this kid, it's a pretty traumatic story. I don't know if I should
You don't need to share all
share
of
it, but it's traumatic, right? Like his mom passed away, and like he's just got a really bad backstory. So, like it's so hard. And even these kids, and we've talked about, the Ryans of the world who, were mean to Willow and cracked the ribs, and but those are the kids who are in and out of like the one. His name's not Ryan, but one of the kids was in and out of foster care, right? Like, and it's just.
Well, and the system is set up in a way that there's too much worry about what ifs, right? What if, well, and it's a two-way street. People look to others to be responsible for their own situation. Like, well, why wasn't this safety measure in place? Well, why weren't you paying more attention, right? And so it swings too far the other way that everything is treated the same way with well, we have to react or else it's a safety thing. Well, yeah, okay, right? Like certain things should be in place just for a normal operating process, but everything is approached from a liability standpoint. So nothing can be left to chance. And when it is left to chance, you have to be seen as reacting in an appropriate manner, or those people that are not capable of taking care of themselves will complain and sue and all this other. And so it trickles down, right? It trickles down into everyday life. It trickles down into the schools. Like we've talked about this before even, right? Like the amount of times that both kids are punished because it's easier than looking at the kid that did the wrong thing and trying to address just that, right? And these people, these bureaucrats, these whatever you want to call it, are completely comfortable living in a space of, well, we can't venture this way because it's, even though we think it's the right way, or they used to think it's the right way, it's the harder path to walk. And that's just, we can't risk that. So in this context, it's better if everybody is treated the same. Well, no, not everybody should be treated the same, and good or bad, right? I think that's a key part of it as well, is these kids that you're referring to shouldn't be treated the same as everybody else, but nor should the kids that don't need that sort of support, right? Read the situation, have the conviction to deal with it the way you should. And I'm not talking about punishing kids needlessly or whatever. I'm talking about literally, is this kid acting out because there's something uncontrollable, or is there something else we could deal with? And conversely, why would we punish the kid that came in and told to try and get support? It's this whatever. It's back and forth.
Well, punishment just doesn't work. And we suspend and expel, and that's the wrong thing. So, I mean, we're throwing a Band-Aid on a bullet wound, really, right? Like we're addressing the behavior, but what's the underlying need? And it all comes down to relationship and feeling heard and understood. If kids felt heard and understood and felt like they had some control in their life, that would make all the difference in the world, truly, at the end of the day, right?
And in these situations, though, what they're doing is they're doubling the amount of kids that aren't feeling heard or seen by having the kid that had something done to them pulled in and treated the exact same way, right? And it's like, well, you've taught the same thing that this kid is trying to process. You're now making this kid have to go through because they don't feel like it's a safe place for them to say, hey, I need help or whatever, right? Or punch the kid back to defend themselves or whatever their situation puts them into.
It's just, I mean, there's so many things when we look at bad kids. I do think, there's trauma, there's the connection, lack of autonomy, lack of control, inconsistency. I do think screens, and then it's not just the time on screens. We do things as parents. I'm just so grateful that we just never had screens in our kids' lives because it's just never been a problem. But, so then screens become the only commodity that, the only sort of reinforcement that parents have. And so they use it as, if you do this and if you're good, you get it. Or as punishment, if you do that, I'm going to take it away. Well, now we've just increased the value of those screens as well, right? So we're just it's already hard. And now we're just making it harder because those screens are even more precious, right? Like it just becomes a vicious cycle.
Totally. Yeah.
There's so many things. I mean, we could go on forever. I think that this is kind of all over the place today, but probably a good one that we could go into 5 different directions. Make it a 5-part series about all the things that make bad kids or bad behaviors. Not bad. I don't believe there's such thing as bad kids, but
are there bad parents?
There's bad behaviors. Bad behaviors all around.
But there's no such thing as bad parents.
There's parents who do bad things.
Very diplomatic. I'm just teasing. If you meet a bad parent, can you just throw a towel on them and run away? Is that an appropriate response? I don't like this guy.
Oh, I've got another topic, actually. I won't bring it up here. It'll make you uncomfortable. Next week.
All right.
Let's do it next week.
Cool beans.
Anyway, so role models, that was yours?
Yeah.
Online role models. Listen to your kids.
Yeah.
Make them feel heard. They got to feel heard. Give them autonomy to run and get stuck in a mud puddle. That's really it.
And let them work it out.
Let them work it out.
Yeah.
Let them solve their own friendship fight. We've talked about all of this. I mean, it's nothing new. And just get them off the screens.
Yeah.
Because that, I would say, I see kids' behaviors become more manipulative and more all of those problem things oftentimes around screens. Anyway, that's it.
Peace out.